Good evening. My name is Paul Rothman, and I'm the Dean of the Roy J. and Lucille A. Carver College of Medicine. And it's my great pleasure to welcome you tonight to the celebration and graduation of the class of 2010. The graduates tonight represent 5 distinct programs within the Carver College of Medicine. Students will be receiving their bachelor's degrees of science in clinical laboratory science, nuclear medicine technology, and radiation services, their master's degrees in medical education, or their doctorate degree in medicine. To all the graduates, the Carver College of Medicine shares the excitement and pleasure of this graduation with your family and your friends, and share the pride of accomplishment that you have brought to us. I'd like to introduce the guests on stage who will be working with us tonight in this celebration. On your far right is Dr. Chris Cooper. Dr. Cooper is the Associate Dean for Student Affairs and Curriculum and Professor of Urology. Next is Dr. Chris Burrish. Dr. Burrish is a professor in emergency medicine and Associate Director of the Residency Program in Emergency Medicine, and is our speaker this evening. Dr. Christy Ferguson. Dr. Ferguson is a professor in the Department of Internal Medicine and the Director of the Masters in Medical Education Program. Dr. Peter Denson. Dr. Denson is the Executive Dean of the Carver College of Medicine and a Professor of Internal Medicine. On my left here, Dr. Tim Creswick. Dr. Creswick's a professor in the Department of Surgery. He's also president of the Iowa Medical Society and is representing the Iowa Medical Society this evening. Next is Dr. Jean Robillard. Dr. Robillard's a native Montreal. He graduated both his bachelor's and his MD degree from the University of Montreal. After doing his training, he came to the University of Iowa as a professor in pediatric nephrology, moved up the ranks here at Iowa, and then moved to the University of Michigan, where he was chairman of the Department of Pediatrics. He returned to Iowa in the year 2003 as the Dean of the Carver College of Medicine. After 4 years in that position, he moved to his present position, which is a Vice President of Medical Affairs for the University of Iowa. Finally, it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Sally Mason, President of the University of Iowa. Dr. Mason is the 20th President of the university and joined us in the year 2007. Dr. Mason got her PhD degree from the University of Arizona in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology. She went on to a very distinguished career in science and somehow became an administrator. She was a dean at the University of Kansas, the provost at the Purdue University, and joined us here in Iowa in 2007. And we're very proud that she's able to join us tonight, Dr. and President Sally Mason.
Thank you, Dr. Rothman. I am absolutely delighted to join you and to bring greetings from the university. I want to start by offering my heartiest congratulations to all of the graduates at this very special moment in your lives. There's a lot of smiles out there tonight. I wonder why. No laughs? Well, you'll get with it. I also want to extend a very special greeting and thanks to all the family and friends who are here with us today, and to those who couldn't be here with us but have been an important part of your medical school journey. I know that as medical students and as students, you make enormous sacrifices in many ways to pursue your dreams. And I know that you couldn't pursue those dreams without the support, the encouragement, and the sacrifices of your loved ones. They are equally a part of today's new beginnings, and we are all grateful to them. Graduates, give your friends and family members a round of applause, please. Healthcare and the health sciences are central to the University of Iowa's identity, to the intellectual contributions that we make to the world, and to the applied service that we provide to our state and nation's citizens. So I want to thank you for being part of that great tradition, both in these past few years, but now going off into the future. As you move on to the future, I charge you with upholding the honor of this great university in your practice, in your research, or wherever else you may be applying your new status as a Carver College of Medicine graduate. You are about to become the public face of who we are, what we do best, and what we stand for. The University of Iowa's most world-renowned strengths perhaps are medicine and writing. It's been an excellent year for both. Our new Institute for Biomedical Discovery is well on its way to reality, thanks especially to an incredibly generous gift from John and Mary Papajohn. And it's only fitting that we are awarding Mr. Papajohn an honorary doctorate from the Tippie College of Business on Sunday for his vision and impact on the lives of so many Iowans. The UNESCO City of Literature organization is now in full swing. This will go a long way to ensuring Iowa City's place in the world's literary firmament and to bringing an even more vibrant culture of writing to our local communities. And I have been so impressed by the way writing and medicine have found their mutually reinforcing relationships in recent years, capped by the remarkable Writing and the Art of Medicine conference that was held this past spring. What ties virtually all academic disciplines together is the use of words. Their power and necessity are unquestioned in any area of endeavor. If you're going into practice, the majority of your interaction with patients will be by talking with them. Indeed, Dr. Sarah Murray Jordan, the first woman president of the American Gastroenterological Association in the 1940s, once said, and this is her quote, "In medicine, words are sometimes the most powerful drugs that we can use." So my message to you today is not specifically to encourage you to use words well, though that is undoubtedly important, but the significance of words in medicine is just one example of how multifaceted healthcare really is. More and more, medical education at the University of Iowa is becoming interdisciplinary. More and more, physicians and other healthcare providers are realizing how crucial it is to work in multidisciplinary teams, to treat the whole person as well as the disease, and to be sensitive to the humanistic as well as the physiological dimensions of health and wellness. So my wish for you, as you go out to your new careers, is to keep expanding your sense of what medicine is and what it entails. The University of Iowa has been doing that for decades, and it will continue to do so. Through your Iowa education, you have developed excellent groundwork for being fully versed in treating the human body. But you've also gained an excellent foundation for envisioning new possibilities for what that doctor in front of your name means to your patients, to your profession, to your communities, and to the world at large. So once again, my very, very sincere congratulations, good luck, and best wishes for great success on this wonderful path and in the wonderful years ahead of you. We are very, very proud of you. Congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you, President Mason. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Chris Cooper, Executive, the Dean for Students. Dr. Cooper is an active surgeon in addition to being our Dean for Students. He's a pediatric urologist. Dr. Cooper.
Good evening and welcome to the medical commencement for the class of 2010. I'd like to thank you all for coming and being part of this happy event and this celebration. And I'd like to thank those of you who have helped support our students over their journey to get to this evening. Most of these students will graduate in a little bit. I'm watching you. So my wife gave me her usual pre-commencement advice, which goes something like this. Chris, they really don't want to hear you talk. So a few years back when I mentioned that advice, there was actually a roaring round of applause. I'm glad to hear there was just laughter. This is obviously a much more polite audience. I will keep it brief. This medical class is special to me. I began my new role as Associate Dean for Students just weeks before most of them began medical school 4 years ago. I certainly stand here older and wiser from the lessons they taught me. Much, much older. But those are other stories for other times. So what else makes this class special? Well, as you'd expect, they're an extremely bright class. But they're also more than that. They're very engaged outside of the classroom. Tonight we have 8 students that are graduating with service distinction, and this is just one indicator of this class's commitment to outreach and service. Their humanism has extended far beyond Iowa City, with many of them becoming involved in global health, going and serving where they were desperately needed. A majority of this class has helped advance the field of medicine through research activities. In fact, 27 students will graduate with research distinction tonight, and 7 students in the medical scientist training program will graduate with both an MD and a PhD. This class has been incredibly generous with their time, and many of them have been outstanding and dedicated tutors for the students in the classes that follow them. Along this line tonight, we celebrate the college's first 6 students that will graduate with teaching distinction. This class has also lived through and learned many tough lessons brought on by adversity and tragedy. They've made it through the flood, near economic collapse, but more importantly, they have lost one of their fellow classmates, Ibrahim Sadi. In addition, Ben Pardini, who was the faculty Flock's Community Learning Director and started about the same time this class started medical school, also passed away. It's an honor for us to grant Ibrahim a medical degree posthumously tonight. Both of these individuals were beloved by this class and the college. Both had an incredible spirit and energy about them, and I know that both would want you to celebrate your accomplishments and go forth and make a positive impact on this world. This class is the first class that I began publicly sharing stories about my children with. This was usually to illustrate a point, but sometimes as father of 4, I just needed to vent. So it seems only fitting that I conclude my remarks with one last short Cooper kid story. And tonight, it's about my favorite daughter, Shelby. She's actually my only daughter. A fact that my 3 sons never fail to point out when I mention that she's my favorite daughter. So a few weeks back, I was home in the morning and trying to help get the 4 kids ready for school. I'm rarely home in the morning when those 4 kids are getting ready for school. And when I am, it convinces me to continue to get up early and leave before they get ready for school. Shelby came down the stairs and asked, "Dad, can you help me find my DSI?" Now, for those of you who don't know, a DSI is one of those little handheld video game contraptions. And I said, "Shelby, you can't play your DSI. It's a school day." And she said, "It's a school day?" I said, "Yes, it's Wednesday, and children all over the world are getting up and getting ready for school." I don't know where I came up with that. I was feeling very, very fatherly, very wise. And she looked at me and said, "Dad, you can't tell what I'm thinking?" And I said, "No, I can't, Shelby. What are you thinking?" She said, "I'm thinking that wasn't very helpful." So as I prepared this, I had several points to make, but then it struck me earlier today that at least several students out there are probably thinking that they know exactly how Shelby felt after their own meetings with Dean Cooper. This was not the take-home point of the story, and students, you are not to put yourselves in Shelby's shoes. You're to put yourselves in my shoes. Here are the 6 take-home points. Number 1, listen carefully to your patients. Shelby asked if I could help. She didn't ask what children all over the world were doing. Number 2, answer the patient's questions directly. I should have just told Shelby no. Number 3, be humble, or at least be prepared to be humbled in your career. Number 4, and I've learned this lesson repeatedly, don't ask a question if you don't want to hear the answer. Trust me, your patients, your children, and someday your students will answer that question. Number 5, this is important. Continue to learn. Learn from your patients, your family, your experiences with everyone and everything around you. And finally, keep a sense of humor. Don't take yourself too seriously. I want to conclude by telling you that it really has been an amazing 4 years for me, and I thank you for your patience with me as a new dean. You are truly a remarkable class composed of remarkable individuals, and I will not forget you. You have my sincerest congratulations. Thank you. It is now my privilege and pleasure to introduce Jenny Woodard. Jenny earned a BA in biology from Clark College. She then taught anatomy and physiology in high school for 16 years, including 12 years at Wahlert High School in Dubuque. She left high school teaching to come to the University of Iowa and earned her PhD in counseling and human development with an emphasis in marriage and family therapy in 1989. Upon completion, she returned to Dubuque to direct the Counseling Center and teach in the psychology department at Clark College. During all of these years, Jenny was a Catholic sister, but when she left the religious community in 1996, she returned to the University of Iowa as faculty in the College of Education. In 1999, she married Fred, the love of her life, and then came to the Carver College of Medicine to serve as the first-year medical student curriculum coordinator, as well as the coordinator for the William Bean community. Although for much of her life, I guess she was Sister Jenny, she rapidly became mother to most medical students, as well as a few faculty members and even a dean here and there. It appears it was the class of 2010 who dubbed her the Murph Mom. And with that, I'll turn it to Jenny.
Thank you. President Mason, Dean Rothman, distinguished guests, families and friends of the class of 2010, and most important, members of the class of 2010. I want to thank you for the honor of sharing your commencement in a special way. Preparing some thoughts tonight, however, took me back to your very early days as M1s, to a time when I was questioning whether working in curriculum was really what I wanted to do with the rest of my professional life. I need to quickly say it had nothing to do with the new dean. I had forgotten about the coincidence of those two things. When I shared my thoughts, however, with my good friend Sherry, she promptly warned me, if that's what you're thinking, then you can't let yourself get close to these students. Little did I know at that time that your class was so cool. Do you remember how cool? So cool that, in my experience anyway, it's the only class that ever had an imposter show up. The person who showed up with all those parties that you were having before orientation, and then who showed up the very first day demanding his orientation packet when he hadn't probably even applied. So I'm suggesting look to your left and look to your right, because there might be somebody out there who's going to stand in tonight. The real problem, however, with my friend's warning not to get too close was that it was already too late. I had already met a group of you in IME. I had met Angie Kirchner, who I didn't know until the end of IME, had quietly sat through the summer worrying that she was going to be in a Monday CBL group. Now you think, why would that matter? Her daughter Hannah was starting kindergarten on that Monday. And so when I found that out, I thought, oh, I can take care of this. So I promptly put her into a Tuesday group. And then Fred and I met Cisco and his mother shopping for his apartment needs, and we offered to keep an eye on him. That was something neither of us should have thought about doing. A bit later, Chris Schuster wandered into the Bean office, and I discovered that we had something very important in common. We're both from Farley, Iowa. He denies it. On weekends, I would regularly see what I called my study team A, the A team, Austin, Audrey, and Andrea. And on a nightly basis, there would be the study group in Bean, Eric Carolyn, Matt Kemp, and Grant Peterson, who announced they would never go home before I did, which actually meant they got a lot of studying done some nights. Of course, the list of those early encounters that engraved your class on my heart, would not be complete without the introductions in Bean the first day when Ibrahim announced that he was, quote, born in Jerusalem, which, he said with a pause, is either in Palestine or in Israel, depending upon how you want to talk about it. And I thought, this is going to be a very interesting class. So it's been a privilege to see you grow as individuals and as a group, committed to your chosen profession, both as physicians and as citizens of the world. And I saw you through many steps of the way, from the nervous M1s, whom I would watch outside the clinical suites as you would go up to the door and try to knock on the door of your simulated patient and then back away and then try it again, to the confident M4s who taught PE skills all semester, to the now rising M2s, thank you to your help, from the seemingly sophisticated M2s who suddenly became little girls of 5 and 6 years old when you came out to our house to try on dresses for the vintage fashion show. This was for the shelter house, the benefit. That allowed us to see you in a new way. It also allowed Catherine Turner an opportunity to teach us Midwestern farm girls what clotted cream was. Where's Emily? Emily, it's not necessary for orthopedic surgeons to know how to pivot, so you'll be fine. On a more serious note, I've also witnessed you develop from medical students who were not sure if you could actually trust those people around you who were your competitors, to M3s learning that the only way to come through tragic loss was to support each other and entrust your fragile emotions. Finally, tonight, we all witness you receiving your well-earned diplomas, ready to become tomorrow's residents, starting up again another ladder, one more time with feeling. The years have passed by quickly. My sister, who's a mathematician here, says the reason why years keep getting faster as you get older is because each year's a smaller percentage of your life. Okay, so now for me, each year is less than 2%. You haven't made it yet there. I've cherished being a part of those years with you. You've continued to challenge me to grow, and I suspect at times I did the same for you. At times when I thought you were losing sight of your goals and it appeared to me your life was becoming way too small, do you remember my advice to you? Don't give your power away. Tonight I want to return to that message because I want you to understand more fully what I meant by it. Each of you has tremendous talent. You have earned your medical degree from a highly recognized and respected institution. And you're moving on to wonderful residencies to continue your training. Some of you may feel like you are on the top of your game and you're ready to take on the medical world. Others may be sitting there a little more trembling at the thought of your first night as a resident, the resident on call, and you're thinking, I'm not ready. How can there be such a wide spectrum of perspectives? I would suggest it comes down to the only thing that you have control over, and that is your attitude. But how could attitudes be so divergent? I would suggest that the divergence here comes from how you are making meaning out of this moment in your life, both about yourself and the world you are entering. And I've lost the last page. No, I didn't. You're not off free. Humor me by going back to the day that you started at the Carver College of Medicine. You were embarking on a journey that you expected to challenge you. But after all, you came with a record of success. So why wouldn't it continue? As one of the graduates several years ago described her experience, she said, "I was at the top of the pyramid in my undergraduate program. And now, all of a sudden, I'm in another pyramid made up of pyramids, and I'm finding a new place." Does that sound familiar? I'm suggesting that you'll encounter that feeling again very soon. You'll again be finding your place in a new group. Surely there will be some jockeying for position, since we haven't totally knocked out your type A personalities. In fact, sometimes I think we reinforce them. The key to your happiness and success lies in how you make meaning out of the experiences in your life, out of your day-to-day experience, since this is the key to how you define success for yourself. It is imperative that you take control of that meaning rather than let it control you. That's just another way of saying that the only thing you have control over is your attitude. Needless to say, these past 2 months have given me both challenge and insights into what it means to take control of one's attitude. Shortly after my surgery, a new friend sent me a book titled Happiness and Health. It's written by Rick Foster and Greg Hicks. After interviewing scads of people and doing tons of research, Foster and Hicks came up with 9 choices or practices that they say help you attain what's called brilliant health. These choices are clearly based on the importance of the attitude we choose toward our lives and the active engagement that connects our intentions and the behaviors we choose in order to live happy and healthy lives. Summed up, I'm not going to take you through all 9. I believe what they are saying is that, contrary to the rules of grammar, happiness is a verb. Happiness doesn't just happen to us, it requires us to be engaged and attentive in order to take appropriate control of our lives, to make decisions about our attitudes and decisions about our behaviors. Happiness involves always keeping the bigger picture in mind, while not forgetting the very powerful present moment in all of its ordinariness. Tonight is a big moment in your lives, but it is also the sum of many ordinary moments, of daily, minute-to-minute choices. The life that lies before you will also be filled with similar, ordinary moments. But it will be important to remember that these moments are dependent on the attitude you choose. The whole of your life will add up to something greater than the sum of all these moments and choices, because it will include the power of your attitude. My prayer for you tonight, and always, is that you will choose to take control of your attitudes and behaviors so that your lives will be happy and healthy, and you can say in all honesty, I chose that. Congratulations on this huge accomplishment in your lives. Thank you for the imprint that you've had on mine. Now go and make a difference in the lives of your patients. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mindy McFarland Kennedy, a fourth-year medical student from Reno, Nevada. Since matriculating in the college 4 years ago, Mindy has been an active participant in an array of student activities and organizations, including serving this year as senior class representative to the College of Medicine student government. Mindy will introduce tonight's commencement speaker.
I apologize for the delay. When my class elected me, we did not know the seating arrangement. Good evening and welcome again to the commencement of 2010. As the elected class representative to the Carver College of Medicine student government, I have the honor of introducing the commencement speaker chosen by our class. Dr. Christopher Burish is a graduate of the University of Iowa Carver College of Medicine and completed 2 residency programs. First in pediatrics at Wake Forest University, then emergency medicine at the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics. He is currently an assistant professor and the associate residency director for the Department of Emergency Medicine. He has been a favorite instructor and a role model for patient care, receiving numerous accolades throughout his career, including the M4 Junior Faculty of the Year and the Leonard Toe Humanism in Medicine Award this year already. Dr. Burish is also recognized nationally and named one of the best doctors in America. His commitment to caring for patients is cross-cultural, having conducted research in India, traveled to Peru with Medical Ministries International, and serving as an ambassador to Haiti for the American College of Emergency Physicians. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Christopher Burish.
Thank you, and good evening. What a momentous day this is. I'd like to start by adding my congratulations, my heartfelt congratulations, to our graduates this evening. We do have students graduating tonight in clinical laboratory sciences, radiation sciences, nuclear medicine technology, students receiving their Masters of Medical Education, in addition to those receiving their degree of the Doctor of Medicine. These last years have been arduous. You've endured some long hours, difficult concepts, financial challenges. I'm sure that many of you sometimes wondered whether or not you'd make it. Worst of all, you've had to put up with crotchety attending physicians who are just never happy with your work. So, you've struggled, you've persevered, and now you're finished. By your efforts and your progress, you've made us all proud. And after having worked with professional students from all over the country, I can confidently tell you that by completing your education here at the University of Iowa, you're among the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Please accept my most hearty congratulations. Perhaps what I have to say next is really preaching to the choir, because nobody knows better than the people sitting here in front of me and the people that are about to walk across this stage that you just can't do it alone. Every graduate here has been supported by family members, friends, and mentors. The impact of their advice, their encouragement, or just their willingness to listen can't be measured. And without that support, we'd probably be having a much shorter ceremony today. I'd like to ask our graduates now to recognize the people that have helped them along this journey, whether they can be here with them tonight or not. So now you have just one lecture to go before you officially graduate. We ought to be out of here by about 10:30 or so. So, cozy seats, right? So I'd like to thank you actually for the unparalleled privilege of giving you this last lecture. I know that I wasn't selected because of my intimate knowledge of the Krebs cycle or the ways in which I revealed to you the manifold mysteries of ornithine transcarbamylase. It's a tough one. Good job. I was wondering how that was going to work. So I'm not going to try and touch on any of that tonight. What I would like to talk to you about is my hope for the class of 2010 going into the future. You guys are coming into the field of medicine at a historic and fascinating time. Without doubt, the field's going to change a lot in the next decade and probably for many decades to come. It'll look very different at the end of your career than it does right now at the beginning. But there's something that really can't be allowed to change, and that's the relationship that you begin to create when you walk into the room with a patient. The word professional means someone who professes an oath, the oath that you're about to take. This oath creates an obligation for you to put the needs of your patient above anything else. Knowing that you've taken this oath, your patients will come to you for comfort, for healing, for dignity, and for humanity. They'll come to you and they'll tell you things that they've never even told their very closest friends. They'll allow you to do things to them that no sane person would allow under any other circumstances. They'll literally put your life, their life, in your hands. This honor that they've given you, this privilege, creates another duty. And I want to make sure that you are crystal clear tonight about what that duty is. I got some advice a few years ago as I was finishing up my residency in emergency medicine. It was given to me by one of my mentors who had, in return, received it from a mentor of his. They're words that I find rattling around inside my head on nearly every shift that I work in the emergency department. The advice that I got was as simple as it is profound, and if you don't remember anything else from tonight, remember this: do the right thing. Do the right thing for every patient, and do it every time. It's not always going to be the easy thing to do. It may not be the popular thing to do. It may not even be what you want to do. But being a good physician is about more than just showing up at the bedside and reading the right journals. It's about being a good listener when people need to talk. It's about giving comfort when comfort's hard to find. And it's about being an advocate for people who need a voice. It's about doing the right thing. And if you follow this mandate, this mantra, it'll help steer you through some difficult times ahead. Indeed, I think that this is really the key to preserving the honor of our profession in the eyes of the public. And that's a responsibility that has to be taken very seriously. Do the right thing. I've had the honor of being able to work in Haiti for the last 8 years. And it's funny, but sitting under a tree with a patient, with all kind of the layers of distraction stripped away, worries about insurance status, worries about being sued, worries about productivity, you find that you're just left with the physician-patient relationship. And that's kind of simultaneously all that you have, but it's also all that you need. The thing is, your patients need more than that. Once you see people and person after person with the same preventable problem, you realize that they need more than your medicine. They need more than someone to talk to. They need an advocate. So there's a story about advocacy that I've always really liked, and I'd like to share it with you tonight. One day, a guy was walking along by the side of the river. He was having kind of a relaxing afternoon, thinking about his life, smelling the roses. When suddenly somebody comes bobbing down the middle of the river, this young man, he's coughing and sputtering, he's going under the water, he's in real trouble. Well, this guy kicks off his shoes, and dives into the water, swims out to the middle of the river, and drags this guy back to shore. As they're laying on the bank, kind of catching their breath, a second person comes along. So he gets back up, jumps back into the water, wades out in the middle of the torrent, and pulls this second person back. And right as they get to shore, here comes the third person. And so the person shakes his head, jumps back into the river, and pulls the third person to safety. And as he's pulling this third person back, there comes a fourth, and he can hear other people floating down the river behind him. Well, after a while, even though he's a good swimmer, he can feel his strength starting to ebb a bit. So he pulls another person out of the water, stands up, puts on his shoes, starts to walk away. Somebody says, "Hey, where are you going?" And he looks at him and says, "I'm going upriver to stop these people from falling in the water." Now, you don't have to go as far afield as Haiti to find people who need a voice. who need someone to act on their behalves. In the coming years, you guys are all going to take care of patients who need more than just your diagnostic prowess or your prescription pad. There are huge segments of our own population who struggle every single day just to keep their heads above water. In my pediatric practice, this often meant long hours on the phone with school principals, teachers, social workers. In the emergency department, it means you're nearly in constant communication with shelter houses, with more social workers, and with the police. There are times when I used to sit there and think, this isn't what I went to medical school for, but I've come to realize that it is. Rudolf Virchow wrote in 1848 that all physicians should act as attorneys for the poor. At the time, he had realized that in order to treat outbreaks of typhus, that physicians had to create changes in clothing laws and hygiene laws. 140 years later, the rock star Bono wrote a song for Rattle and Hum, which contained the lyrics, "The rich stay healthy and the sick stay poor." Bono's assertion would actually later be confirmed by an Institute of Medicine report. The Institute of Medicine released a report in 2000 that noted that 18,000 people had died that year in the United States because of their disadvantaged socioeconomic status. In other words, one person died every 30 minutes, every day of the year in the year 2000 because they were poor. In the coming years, you're going to be in a position to do something about that. As you talk with your patients and examine them, bring everything that you have to bear on their problems. Don't just be a fantastic diagnostician or the doctor that knows how to spell the latest pharmaceutical remedy. Be their doctor. Be their hope. Work on behalf of the people who are falling through the cracks, who are being left behind. Do the right thing. I actually remember pretty clearly the day 9 years ago when I was sitting where you guys are sitting now. I was excited, but to be honest, I didn't have any real fantastic plans for my future. I thought I'd graduate from a pediatrics residency and spend the rest of my life taking care of kids and enjoying doing that. If someone would have told me back then that I'd be back at commencement a few years later, but this time standing behind the podium, I would have laughed at them and I would have done like a mini mental status exam. However, since that day, I've come to appreciate more fully what a gift I've been given. I've really come to embrace the privilege and the opportunity that we have to get to know people in such an intimate way, to be able to help them and comfort them, and to be there with them in really difficult times. It's my hope for the class of 2010 that you're going to find your passion in your career. I hope you'll find yourself fully engaged and caught up in the work that we all share of making this world a better place. Some of you are going to do this through research, some of you through legislative action, some of you will do this by teaching others, and some of you will do this quietly, one patient at a time, just by doing the right thing. I've come to realize that if you find your passion, there's almost nothing that you can't do. I'd like to wrap up here with a poem by one of my favorite poets, Shel Silverstein. Listen to the mustn'ts, child. Listen to the don'ts. Listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves, and then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. To those receiving their degrees in clinical laboratory science, radiation science, nuclear medicine technology, to those receiving their masters of medical education, to our new physicians, congratulations. You're about to enter a challenging phase of a fantastic journey. As you go through this endeavor, it's okay to feel that sometimes you're just getting by. But don't ever lose sight of what's important. Don't ever forget your potential. Don't sell yourself short. And don't set your sights too low. Don't ever lose hope. But go and be great doctors. Thank you.
Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Science or Certificate in Clinical Laboratory Science in Nuclear Medical Technology and the candidates for the Bachelor of Science in Radiation Science please stand? President Mason, these candidates have completed all the requirements for Bachelor of Science in Clinical Laboratory Sciences, the Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Medicine Technology, or the Bachelor of Science in Radiation Sciences, and are recommended to you by the faculty at the Carver College of Medicine for the conferring of their degree.
On the recommendation of the faculty of the Carver College of Medicine, and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, I confer on you the certificate or degree, Bachelor of Science in Clinical Laboratory Science, Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Medicine Technology, or Bachelor of Science in Radiation Sciences as qualified and designated. Congratulations.
Would the graduates who have just been awarded their certificates or degrees please come forward to receive your diplomas. Bridget Arcus. Adam Bartman. Nicholas Davey. Justin Epstein. Leah Kicketts. Hang Mo Koo. Kristen Kleesner. Laura Knox. Audra Becker. Mandy Bird. Michelle Bogey. Anthony Cupp. Sarah Dixon. Erica Featheringill. Miranda Fisher. Amanda Herstein. Nicole Harrington. Jessica Laver. Samantha Long. Elise Mearden. Amanda Olson. Hold on. Catherine Perry. Emily Schneider. Jared Stiles. Tiffany Storm. Leah Stover. Shannon Whitney. Lauren Wywoody.
This evening marks two special milestones for the Carver College of Medicine. The first is recognition of the very first students to graduate in the Teaching with Distinction track. And the second is the awarding of Master in Medical Education degrees to 7 faculty and staff from the college. The latter program began in January of 2007. Its purpose is to prepare medical education leaders for the future. It's especially exciting that these MME degrees are awarded at medical student commencement, as the individuals receiving them have made significant contributions to the education of many of the other students here tonight. All of the MME students have day jobs, and their perseverance in completing the degree sends a positive message regarding the importance of lifelong learning.
Will the candidates for Masters in Medical Education please stand? President Mason, these candidates have completed all of the requirements for the Master in Medical Education and are recommended to you by the faculty of the Carver College of Medicine for the conferring of this degree.
On the recommendation of the faculty of the Carver College of Medicine and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, I confer on you the Master in Medical Education degree as qualified and designated. Will the candidates please come forward to receive their diplomas? Congratulations.
James Carroll. Mary Grace Elson. Ellen Franklin. Michelle Graham. Kate Deshane Toma. Kaylin Wagner.
Will the candidates for the Doctor of Medicine degree please stand? Despite what Dr. Cooper said, President Mason, all of these candidates have completed all of the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Medicine and are recommended to you by the faculty of the Carver College of Medicine for conferring of this degree.
Dean Rothman, I trust you. Maybe. On the recommendation of the faculty of the Carver College of Medicine and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, I confer on each of you the degree of Doctor of Medicine as qualified and designated. Congratulations.
Will the Doctor of Medicine graduates please be seated? Dean Rothman, on behalf of the faculty and administration of the Carver College of Medicine, I present to you these graduates who have just been awarded the degree Doctor of Medicine. They will now be presented with their doctoral hoods and diplomas. The shell of the hood matches the black material of the gown and is lined with the old gold color of the University of Iowa. The velvet border of the hood is indicative of medicine, which traditionally is represented by green. Dr. Baresh will join me in the presentation of the hoods. Graduates, will you please come forward to receive your hoods and diplomas? Dr. Sarah Alford. Dr. Mushtaq Ali. Dr. Kristen Anderson. Dr. Anwar Ashraf. Thanks. Dr. Abraham Assad. Dr. Nuseba Bajegni. Dr. Jennifer Baker. Dr. Laura Breer. Dr. Eric Brown. Dr. Allison Lindstrom Buck. Dr. Kadia Bundu. Dr. Erica Burke. Dr. Paul Butler. Dr. Eric Carlin. Dr. Nathan Carroll. Dr. James Colbert. I thought I'd just hand you that, Jesse. Okay. Dr. Jesse Coleman. Dr. Lauren Coyne. Dr. Mona Dalal. Dr. Robert Della Piazza. Dr. Elizabeth Damstetter. Dr. Samantha Danielson. Dr. Christopher Day. Dr. Kevin D. Dr. Alexander Eminger. Dr. Stephanie X. Dr. Benjamin Ellis. Dr. Andrew Elson. Dr. Jonathan Ingbers. Dr. Johanna Engelbrauer. Dr. Jessica Enns. Dr. Jennifer Urbas. Dr. Zach Erickson. Dr. Angela Farrell. Dr. Nora Foster. Dr. Matthew Fuller. Dr. Tabitha Galloway. Dr. Elizabeth Gauger. Dr. Jesus Gomez. We're running out of room here. Dr. Suniti Gupta. Dr. Tyler Haberly. Dr. Ryan Haig. Dr. Will Heisey. Dr. Larry Hook, Jr. Dr. Andrew Hoover. Dr. Brian Hopper. Dr. Catherine McKenna Hopper. Dr. Frederick Howen. Congratulations. That's a strange handshake of me. Dr. Rebecca Johnson. Good to see you, Laura. Dr. Laura Kerr. Congratulations. Dr. Matthew Kemp. Dr. Kimberly Keeney. Dr. Angela Kirschner. Dr. Tyler Kerr. Dr. Sobia Kaja. Dr. Sonia Kermani. Dr. Michelle Kurt. Dr. Amanda Lee. Dr. Jennifer Lee. Dr. Shannon Shower Leverage. Dr. Erica Levis. Dr. Annette Renee Jim Lopez. Dr. Shruti Manglik. Dr. John McAnally. Dr. Melinda McFarland Kennedy. Dr. Patrick McGonigal. Dr. Abby Merriman. Dr. Jessica Miesfeld. Dr. Jennifer Miller Meyer. Dr. Christopher Mitros. Dr. Michael Musa. Dr. Jennifer Moyer. Dr. Leah Muley. Dr. Gary Nelson. Dr. David Nguyen. Dr. Brent Nichols. Dr. Lisa Niedergesses. Dr. Bryant Oliverson. Dr. Kevin Orcutt. Dr. Jennifer Paisley. Dr. Andrea Park. Dr. Eva Patil. Dr. Grant Peterson. Dr. Heather Pontash. Dr. Aaron Powell. Dr. Stephen Pertle. Dr. Matthew Raker. Dr. Shilpa Reddy. Dr. Megan Reichs. Dr. Juan Carlos Roman. Dr. Ibrahim Sadi. Dr. Charlotte Sadler. Dr. Francisco Sanchez Navarro. Dr. Erica Savage. Dr. Johanna Savage. Dr. Trevor Schmitz. Dr. Bradley Shook. Dr. Jennifer Shook. Dr. Laura Schrader. Congratulations. Dr. Nathan Schulerich. I'm not sure what they said. Dr. William Schupp. Dr. Christopher Schuster. Dr. Lisa Schwiebert. Dr. Stanley Sidor. Dr. Gary Sharp. Dr. Christina Sinnott. Dr. Jacob Smith. Congratulations. Dr. Pavlina Sankova. Congratulations. Dr. Todd Stanhope. Dr. Samuel Stanton. Dr. Brian Stussy. Dr. Jennifer Swanson. Dr. Andrew Tiber. What do you do here? Okay. I can pronounce that. Dr. Catherine Turner II. Dr. Kelly Victor. What's that? Don't be throwing me off. Oh, you didn't. Oh, Dr. Emily Wagstrom. Dr. George Wandling, Jr. Dr. Xiao Yi Wong. Dr. Kaija Weldon. Dr. Scott Westfall. Dr. Joseph Wickard. Dr. Ashleen Williams. Dr. Travis Witt. Dr. Heather Wolf. Dr. Melissa Yates. Dr. Joseph Zabel. Dr. Kara Zimmerman.
I would now like to address the doctors of medicine. You've come to a decisive moment in your development as a physician. You're about to recite the physician's oath, which is based on the oath of Hippocrates. While you took a very similar oath 4 years ago during your white coat ceremony and have honored that promise, the next minute will set you apart from your medical school career. This oath is a symbol of your commitment to the healing arts and your acknowledgement of your solemn duty to perform them to the best of your ability. So I ask you to think about very seriously what the oath means and the very real importance it signifies to those whom you treat. As you commit to each paragraph, concentrate on the meaning of your vow and see it through. Thus, acknowledging the magnitude of this ceremony, I now ask the Doctor of Medicine graduates to please rise and turn to page 4 of your programs. I'd also like to invite Larry Hook, our student recipient of the 2010 Leonard Tao Humanism in Medicine Award, to come forward and read the oath.
I do solemnly swear by that which I hold most sacred that, as I enter the profession of medicine, my primary responsibility will always be toward my patients. I will regard my patients always as fellow human beings and will do everything possible to preserve their dignity. I will try to treat and prevent disease, maintain health, and aid my patients in realizing their life's potential so far as is possible with the skills of medical science. I will seek to inform my patients fully about their illnesses, and I will always remember that the final decision regarding their own life rests with them. I will never knowingly do a disservice, and I will do everything possible to preserve the patient's privacy. I will perform my professional role to the best of my ability, but I will never hesitate to call upon the assistance of other physicians or health professionals when indicated. I will try always to cooperate with my fellow professionals and will seek actively to improve my profession and the service it delivers. I will remember that I am a participating member in a larger community, and as a trusted servant of that community, I share responsibility for the planning of social policy toward constructive goals. I pledge to continue to educate myself throughout my career and continually to engage in a critical re-examination of myself as a rational, emotional, and spiritual human being.
Please be seated. So I get the honor to being the first person to personally congratulate the class of 2010. You are among the best and the brightest that our nation has to offer, and we're very, very glad to have you have come through the Carver College of Medicine. Before we conclude, there are other very special people here that I think we'd like to thank. None of this could be done without the grandparents, parents, siblings, significant others, husbands, wives, spouses. I'd like all of them to stand and let the graduates thank you for all you've put into them. And now could all the graduates please stand and let's give them one final ovation saluting their graduation.